Hey, everybody. Welcome to the CNC with Dave show. This is, I believe, episode 57. And got a kind of a small crew tonight. Got some folks away and got graduations and all that kind of stuff going on. So got kind of a small crew. But we're going to go ahead with the show. And we'll start with panel introductions and go ahead and get those out of the way. We'll start with one of my favorite Canadians, Mr. Carter.
Hey, Dave. Hey, guys. How you doing? Oh, I'm getting an echo from somewhere. Hoping it's not me. Trevor Carter here from New Brunswick, Canada. You can find me on YouTube, Facebook, all the fun stuff as Trevor's Woodshop. Thanks for having me, Dave.
Okay, thank you for being here tonight, Trevor. And next we have Mr. Mertzke.
Hey Dave, Mike Mertzke here, Mertzke Custom Woodworking. You can find me and all my links over at mertzkecustomwoodworking.com. Thanks for having me, Dave.
All right, thanks for being here, Michael. And again, congratulations to your son, Michael, on graduating high school today. Very cool. And lastly, we have Mr. Lopez.
Hello, Juan Lopez from Dallas, Texas. You can find me on YouTube under G-Code One Design, also on Facebook and on Instagram. Thanks for having me, Dave.
All right, thanks for being here, Juan. Mr. Lindsay is not with us tonight. He's out of town. I haven't seen him over in the chat. I don't know if he's going to be able to watch over there or not. But he is at his oldest granddaughter's graduation, wherever that is. So he's not going to be here tonight. And we may have some more folks drop in here as we get going too. I've sent out several links, so we may have some folks pop in and out. We'll see. Anyway, I just want to talk about a few things real quick. We mentioned last week on the show, we had the Texas meetup end of April. And that was really awesome. I had a great time out there. And we've been talking about, we mentioned it last week, talking about another meetup in the Nashville area, Nashville, Tennessee. And just from what I can see from people that have posted on Facebook to what I put on there and on the forum as well, it looks like there's quite a bit of interest and quite a few guys that would attend. So looks like that may be a go. We just need to kind of sit down and figure out a date and a place to have it. If there's anybody that lives near the Nashville area and wants to take that on, securing a place, let me know. Otherwise, I'll try to get a place lined up. Nashville's a great town. I've been there several times and always have a good time there. So mark your calendars for sometime. We don't know. Probably late. Just guessing. Probably late summer, early fall, something like that. So be thinking about that. Another thing I wanted to mention. I mentioned last week, and I want to keep mentioning it. Tim at dumpstercnc.com. Who supplies all the Acme nuts and couplers and all that stuff. When I checked this morning, I didn't check it right before the show, but when I checked it this morning, his website is still showing, just his little updates from the tornado damage and stuff. But I do want to remind people that you can get those, he calls it the Gatton kit is what he calls it, but you can get those now. He's up and running enough to make the stuff for me, and you just can't go to his website and get them. He sent me a special link, and I have that on my both the websites. So if you go to either the GarageWorks CNC website or the DaveGatton.com website, you'll see a link that says, the dumpster CNC kits or whatever. You click on that, and it takes you straight to it. And that's right now. That's the only way you can get them until he gets his website back up and going. So I just want to make sure everybody knew that, you can get them. Okay. Another thing I wanted to talk about is I wanted to mention about a CNC giveaway. No, it's not a GarageWorks CNC giveaway. But Jeremy Stevenson from Iconic CNC is having, I guess they're calling it the summer giveaway. I've got a link in the show description here. It says Iconic CNC summer giveaway. So make sure you go check that out. Make sure y'all read the rules now, because I've given away stuff before, and I know how y'all do. Y'all try to sneak in extra entries. If you try to do that with him, I think if I read the fine print correctly, it just voids all the other ones. So, I'm a nice guy. If somebody tries to sneak one in, I just delete the extra ones and leave the first one in there. But yeah, make sure you read the rules and all that. But good chance to win a really nice CNC. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the value of that whole package is $6,700 or something like that. I think it was. So anyway, wanted to mention that. And let's see, what else have I got here? I wanted to congratulate Scott Wilson. He's on Facebook as Scott Wilson. I call him Barry because he came up to me and talked to me for a good while at the show in Atlanta back in first part of April, end of March, whenever it was. And he is now the proud owner of GarageWorks CNC. So congratulations, Scott or Barry. And I know he's excited to get that and get that thing set up. So let's see, what else did I have here? Oh, last week, I think it was, I mentioned another CNC challenge. And I didn't think there was, that big a response, but Mark was telling me that, I guess, while I wasn't paying attention to the chat, a bunch of folks in the chat, there was a lot of positive comments saying they're wanting to do one. So I guess we'll do another one here. I'll try to contact some sponsors and get some stuff lined up. I don't know what it's going to be exactly. Last week we kind of talked about maybe doing one for the 4th of July, maybe make something patriotic or something like that. So if y'all want to go ahead and get started making something, you can do that, and I'll throw together some stuff and put it on the website and try to contact some sponsors or whatever. But we'll definitely, like we always do, we'll make it worth your while to do it. So let's see, I'm looking to see if there's any questions over there, because I start to say, is there any questions? And I keep forgetting Mark's not here. So I'm just watching the chat myself. I guess that's anybody else got anything they want to throw out there? Trevor, Mike, or Juan, you got anything you want to talk about before we?
No, just trying to watch chat.
Okay. Yeah, Paul over there is saying, Dave, I believe David Battershell has made some pretty preliminary inquiries for Nashville. Yeah, he and I talked on the phone the other day. And he's, like I said, he's in Oklahoma though. So, if somebody that's in that area, the Nashville area, would like to step up and try to secure a spot, it might be a little easier. But if not, he and I'll work together and get something lined up. So, we got somebody from Cairo, Egypt watching. Awesome. Okay. If nobody has anything else, I'll, like I said, we're just kind of going to do some question and answer stuff. And really, I had to laugh a little bit when I saw, Mark, everybody knows Mark Lindsay does those excellent promos for the show. He puts them on Facebook and, in about 11 different Facebook groups and stuff. And when I did the link, or I say the link, it's basically just setting up the show. And then I share that to Facebook. And, it says CNC with Dave, number 57. And I just put thank you. And it was funny because Mark always, will message me and he'll say, well, what's the show about so I can write the promo? And he said, and I just said, well, I'm just kind of been thinking about the past 12 months or so. So he puts the promo out there, and it says, like, I think he thought I was talking about the show being a year old. And we started the first show April 23rd. So the CNC with Dave show is well over a year old. But what I was talking about is, today's kind of a special day for me. On June 10th last year, I sold my first Gatton CNC kit. So that's, I'm gonna have to get some water. Can somebody take over for a second? I gotta grab some water.
Congratulations. All right, it's all you, Juan.
I don't know what to say.
I was going to say it's all on you, Mike.
Right.
Well, I've prepared a little song and dance, but
Could
Okay.
could you recite it?
All right, cool.
I'll be your backup.
stays back next episode.
No, I just want to say thank you to everybody who has bought either a Gatton CNC kit, a Garage Works, the plans I sell, all that stuff. So, I just want to say thank you, everybody, for supporting me. And I guess that's, like I said, that's really all I was going to say. If we'll just kind of take some general questions, I guess, about anything else that anybody wants to ask.
Well, I guess I'd like to say thank you, Dave. And I think I can pretty much speak for everyone here, to include the people watching. I mean, you definitely do a lot for this community, and it's very well appreciated. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Mike. And I got to say, I've got some of the best viewers out there. There's some folks, I'm looking at the chat now. There was somebody from Egypt, Australia, Melbourne, Australia. And I just saw Ted Krieger. I don't know if y'all know Ted.
Yeah.
He's in a hospital right now, and he's watching live from the hospital. So thank you, Ted. Appreciate that. Has anybody got any questions out there? We'll just kind of make this just kind of a BS session, I guess, question and answer, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, get well, Ted. Yeah, he's had some issues, and like I said, he had to go back in the hospital. I guess they kept him for, I don't know how long he's going to be in there, but hopefully. You're welcome, Dave. Where can I get my Gatton CNC t-shirt? If you go to the davegatton.com website, you'll see a very attractive model wearing the Gatton CNC shirts. And she looks a whole lot better in them than I do.
I've had a couple of people ask me where that model came from.
Yeah, that's kind of a mystery gal.
Yeah.
And I noticed Mike is wearing his swag tonight, looking good in the safety orange there. So
I got to get me a Gatton shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got the hats, and I don't think I've ever even put the mouse pads. I took a bunch of those to Texas and gave some of those away. And
mouse pad. Watch out.
Look at Mike throwing off all the swag.
Yeah. He's I had to do something for Mike because he's probably directly responsible for half of the Garage Works sales that I've made.
I'd have to agree.
Maybe a couple Gatton CNC kits too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike is one of those guys that's definitely out there. That's for sure. He's out there to help.
Yeah.
I mean, how cool is it that in today you can have a CNC in your garage? I mean, come on. Who doesn't want one?
Well, I got to tell you, Mike, as you guys know, I've been doing this a long time. I've had a CNC for a long time. And Mike and Trevor both know it because I've shared it with both of you guys. You know what kind of little project I've been working on the past few days.
Mm-hmm.
And I was out there cutting that the other day. And I just thought, now, how cool is it to be able to think of something you want to make, draw it up, you know, and then take it out to your machine and make it, you know, and you're right there in your garage or your shop or your shed or, you know, whatever it might be. But you're just like the big guys, you know, you think of something you want made, you draw it up. In my case, I modeled it in 3D. So when I got done, I knew everything was going to fit together perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, you know, how cool is that? You know, it's just, I don't know. I can understand why folks want a CNC in their shop.
There's not much more cooler than that, really.
Yeah. And, you know, in my case, I've got, like right now in my garage, not even counting what I've got back in my shop, I've got 3 of them. I've got the big Gatton CNC that I use mostly to cut the Gatton CNC parts kits, but I do use it for some other things too. And then I have the 36 by 24 Garage Works that I'm using with the, I call it the Masso project, where I'm using the Masso controller from Hind Technology.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also have one of the smallest Garage Works that I threw together just to play around with the laser. So, you know, you know, I can see why people get excited about getting a CNC. I still get excited, and I've been doing this a long time. So, you know, I haven't been watching the chat lately, and it's starting to really scroll by quick. So
we have a fellow on there that says, Dave, what's the cutting area of a 36 by 48?
Well, I don't have a 36 by 48. I mean, you could throw one together like that, but I was going to say, but you can. Well, yeah, I could, I guess. The 36 by 24 that I have, and I that's what I call this, pretty much the table size, kind of, sort of. You can get 24 inches on the Y if you hang over the front about 1.5 inches or so, because the router sticks out far enough, it will reach that. And in the X direction, it'll get about just under 31, I think.
He was talking about the Gatton too, of course. I forgot to mention that part, probably.
Oh, he was talking about the Gatton CNC?
Yes.
Well, you can pretty much make those whatever you want. You know, if anybody out there watching this for the first time, or they don't know, the Gatton CNC kit includes 21 parts that I cut on the CNC. That kind of, you know, it's like the uprights, some of the, you know, the Acme nut blocks and that kind of stuff. But the end user supplies the cross members, I guess, on the gantry, so you can make those as long or as short as you want them.
As you need.
Yeah, so you can, and there's guys. My basic plans, when you buy a kit, you get the plans with the kit. And my plans are all drawn around using a half sheet of plywood, 48 by 48, for the tabletop, which would give you a cutting area of I don't know, 40 something by probably 32 or something like that. But I think there's probably very few people that have bought the kit and then built it exactly that size. I think because most everybody I talk to, they always go big. They really stretch them out. You know, the lead screws come in 6 foot length, so they'll make them 6 foot wide or 5 foot wide. Jerry Brown and Michael Chips are good examples. Both of those guys have, I think, both got 5x5s or something like that. So, yeah. Anybody else have any questions out there? Jim Sinicola, any update on the BioCAD software? I haven't really had a chance to use it, Jim. I got to fess up. I said I was going to make myself use it so I could learn it. And then when I got ready to do this project, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go back to the stuff I know. And I did that because it's just easier for me. But I will get into that some more, especially trying to do stuff like table legs and stuff like that. Thomas Green, my table's 48 by 56. I see all kinds of questions out there in the chat, but I don't see a whole lot of stuff I can answer. Okay, Cut It Out says, do you sell only the frame for Garage Works? I sell what I call a rolling chassis. I'm not sure who that is. Cut It Out. I don't know what your name is, but yeah, if you look, there's two. The Garage Works are all a DIY kit. They're not a complete turnkey machine or anything like that. I sell what's I call a rolling chassis. Package A is like all the pretty safety orange sheet metal components, all the hardware, and the V-groove bearings necessary to put together a rolling chassis. And then if you add package B, which is the lead screws and some bearing blocks and bearings and Acme nuts and couplers and all that, I can provide those too. However, I put, I don't make it a secret of who I use. So I have links on the website so that you can save yourself some money just buying the stuff yourself instead of having me buy it and turn around, mark it up and ship it to you. So I don't see any other questions. Oh, Frank Condon. I didn't know that was his thing on YouTube. Cut It Out. Frank Condon, that's the Devobal technology guy. Any other questions or anything anybody wants to talk about? Everybody's busy reading, I guess.
Yeah, we're all reading the chat.
How is the Masso and all that fun stuff working out for you, Dave?
I'm still learning a lot of things. Last week's show, I talked about the Masso. I didn't really run it or show it during the show, but I have, to that machine, I've ran homing switches.
Nice.
And have all that working. I have an e-stop wired in. And I have to admit, I got to admit, after putting homing switches on that and playing around with that Masso, I'm probably going to put some homing switches on the other one. And I've never, you know me, I'm old school. I just keep it simple and no extra bells and whistles and all that. But I can really see where they would come in handy at times. There's still ways to get around not having them, which I've been doing for years. But I can see how if you have them on there and they're already working, it could make some things a lot easier. So And what's that?
Are you using them as homing switches or just as limit switches?
No, I'm using it as homing switches.
Nice.
Yes, I just disabled the homing function on my switches, so mine are now just set up as limit switches.
Yeah, and well, you know, I guess I could set them up, you know, to use as limit switches, but like I said, I'm not worried about running something into the side of the gantry or, you know, running it too far or over, you know, the over travel thing, because, and again, you know, I've been doing this a long time, so I know, you know, the table size is this big, my program's this big, it's going to fit, you know, if I put it, you know, within those limits, it's going to fit. I don't worry about hitting the thing. So I wasn't really worried about limit switches, and the main reason I put them on there is to really test the Masso, because, you know, I'm kind of acting like, I guess, like a beta tester for JAT for this Masso. And, you know, I know if people say, well, what about this? You know, if I haven't done it, I'm not going to be able to answer their question. So that's why I'm putting a lot of the extra stuff on this Masso. I still want to get I think it's a PlayStation 2 controller is what it's set up to use. It'll also use a pendant, but it's got a different, I think it's got like a DB15 or something for the pendant, you know, whereas the one I have is USB. So
Rob Schuster was asking if you could explain the difference between limit switches and homing switches.
Well, I mean, it's
Pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, I mean, the name pretty much says it all. A homing switch is to help the machine, you know, you set them where you want the home to be for the machine. And like in my case, and I think probably on most things, you always want the Z to go first so that it gets up and out of the way. And so when I hit home on that machine, the Z will come up, hit that homing switch, and then come back off the switch, but it's up out of the way. And then after it gets done, the X and the Y will both move together heading towards their home position. And whichever one gets there first, it will just stop once it hits the switch and wait on the other one. And then when the other one gets there, they both make the switch and then move just off the switch. And then that is programmed in the Masso software as my home position. So now the machine knows where it's at. Whereas the limit switch is kind of put there so you don't do an over travel. You know, you might have more that, you know, with a homing switch, I just have 3. I just have one on each axis. But a homing switch, you might have, or I mean, a limit switch, you might have more because you may want to put one on both ends of the X axis and both ends of the Y axis, so you don't, you know, don't run it into the front or run it into the back or whatever. So that's basically what they do is, and you can also set up the soft limits the same way, which, you know, you tell it where your soft limit is and you tell it how, you know, like, okay, slow down, you know, an inch before you get to it or 2 inches or whatever. And it'll slow down and not crash into anything. And then it'll just stop once it reaches that limit.
On that Masso, I was wondering, does he include like D-value, height offsets, and different tools?
It has a, right now there's like 6 different pages. And I think it's page F, I think it's F4, you know, it's F1 through F6. And I think it's F4 is the, it's kind of like a tool library where you can put in your tool and all the information about that. And I believe it has the offsets in there as well.
Cool.
For that.
If it has a diameter offset, that'd be great.
Okay, I see somebody's asking me if I will be looking into Mach 4 in the future. It looks like Mach 3 is at the end of its development life. I never say never. I probably would get around to it sometime. But I've been, I've had my Mach 3 license for, 10 or 12 years now, I guess. And as long as I've got something that'll run Mach 3, I won't be spending any money on another license for Mach 4 until I just can't run Mach 3 anymore. But it is, it is, I don't know. I've heard some people saying they're starting to use Mach 4, Mach 4, and it's okay. Or, a while back when I first saw that it was out, and it was still a little bit buggy, I think. They've been at it a while now, so they probably got most of those worked out. But I just don't have a reason to buy it as long as Mach 3 is running good. And
is Mach 4 a brand new buy as opposed to the Mach 3?
I think it is. Yeah, I think I'd have to buy it just like I was buying brand new.
Yeah, and they're about that on their website, but it's not an upgrade to Mach 3. It's a completely new platform.
And I believe, and Michael, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong here, if you know, because I haven't looked in a while, but I think that the Mach 4 is set up where it will only work on one computer.
Oh, that ain't no.
I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't look into the licensing on it.
Yeah, I know when I read it, because I thought, oh yeah, because with the Mach 3,
I think I heard the same thing.
Yeah, don't quote me on that, guys, but I think when you go over there to read it, read the fine print. But
yeah, that definitely recommend doing that. I didn't realize when I used to be CNC that the licenses were directly tied to the number off of whatever motion controller. So when I upgraded 100 to the UC 400, I had to buy a new license.
yeah, and that's I don't know. They got you. I mean, what are you going to do? I know I was surprised, and we did a show about that a while back, and that's one of the things that when I was doing the show about UC CNC is it just I don't know, it just seemed funny to me, because to me when you go to their website, and I haven't been on there in a while, so it may have changed, I don't know, but it made it look like you're buying the software for $60, and I'm like, well, that's $60. That's a whole lot cheaper than $175 that Mach 3 is. But then the software is absolutely worthless unless you buy one of those other things like the UC 100, the UC 300, or whatever. So you buy a UC 100, and that's $115. So now you're 115 plus 60. You're right back up to 175 again. But to me, they don't make that clear. They make it seem like they're selling you the software for $60.
Yeah. If you buy one of those devices, you can get a license for I think $40. But I prefer the functionality of using CNC over Mach 3.
Yeah. Now I have two of the UC 100s. And I still have the UC CNC software, but I don't use it. I use Mach 3, so I'm used both of those UC 100s with Mach 3. I have one of them that's over there on the little machine where I put the laser, and then I have the other one on the Gatton. And I know if I try to run these with my laptop, if I go out there and I've just got through running one UC 100 with serial number Humpty Dump, then I go to run the other one, it'll still work. It's just that when you open up Mach 3, it'll say have to update firmware, and I guess it's loading something to do with that other UC 100, and then it works. And then when you go to take it back the other one, it's got to do it again. So usually I use my laptop when I'm going to go out there and run the little machine with the laser. And then when I'm running the Gatton machine, I'm using a desktop that I have out there that I just keep out there.
There was a question about where in the game you can use the switch. I personally don't the way I have this set up. You could, but you would have to change your setup and not run a slave. You should be running two individual drivers, my understanding. So I just set my gantry square. Then after that, I don't.
Yeah, and I don't know if people understand this or not, but one of the cool things about having a machine made out of steel, like the GarageWorks CNC, is if you want to check to see if your gantry's square. I mean, you can do it a couple of different ways. You can measure and all this, but the easiest way is just to jog the thing slowly, not super fast, but jog the thing all the way to the front until it touches the frame, and then just back it up, and you're square.
Yep.
Because once you get that thing touching the frame, the weakest link now becomes the stepper motor, and if it is cocked or racked, when one side hits, that motor's just going to stall before the other, and then the other side will come up and touch. And even on the and I've been doing that for years. The old Sidewinder, the metal Sidewinder I have out in my shop. I should probably do a show from out there sometime just to show that old antique that I use. But it's the same way. It's got a big old heavy steel frame, and I just, jog it forward till they both hit, and then back them up, and I know it's square.
Would that trick kind of work if it was on the Gatton CNC, as long as everything was cut square?
Well, the only thing about the Gatton CNC is, you're talking about a plywood, that arm that holds the bearing on the front. So if you tried running it to the front, there's enough torque, it'll probably snap that thing right off. So here's what I tell people to do on the wooden machines is bring them forward, and leave yourself, an inch or so. Don't bring it all the way up and touch, and then cut your drive box off so that now you can move the screws by hand. And I still say don't bring them all the way up and touch the block. Take a block, of something what size it is, and just stick it in there and hand turn that one side and get it till it's touching the block. Then take that same block over to the other side and do the same thing. Now you've got it square, but when you go to jog it, you've got a little bit of a gap. So if you accidentally hit the wrong way, you may be able to catch it before you snap that off. But yeah, that's a good thing about having a good heavy steel machine. You're not gonna mess it up. It's gonna come up and touch, and then the motor's gonna stall.
Yeah, I have a 1, 2, 3 block, and that's what I use when I want to square it up, or when I want to check it, actually, because it's rare that it would.
Yeah.
Do that.
I'm reading some of the comments over there. I see somebody says to square. Well, it just scrolled up. Somebody said something about if it to square up, it matters if your motors are slaved or separate motor. Well, they're going to need to be slaved if you got two motors.
No matter what.
Running the thing. But I mean, anything can happen, if you sometimes want to lose steps on for some reason. and it'll get slightly out of whack. And sometimes it'll be racked so slightly that you don't notice it because it's not, obvious to the eye. And you can sit there and run parts, and guess what? Your parts are going to be out of square. Don't ask me how I know that. But that's what happens if you don't check it first. But again, if you've got homing switches, and especially if you've got one on each side, then that's another plus for homing switches, I guess. Now I'm trying to read some more comments here. You guys are awful quiet tonight, I guess because we got such a...
I was just waiting for Russ Meadows to show up.
I bet you were.
Like that hat.
Look at that.
I have to go get mine.
They like that hat. I saw a picture of Michael Mirsky and a fella that could look him square in the eyeballs today on Facebook.
I did too.
Also by the same name. I said, my God, I almost told you, you ain't gonna look over him.
Almost as good looking too.
Just about, my God, just about.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just happy that Russ Meadows finally learned which way to wear a hat.
I don't really like it this way, believe me, but this light shines in my eyes, so I had to put it on this way.
I was giving him some stuff the other day, guys, because
he always
wears his hat backwards, and I'm like, here, I give you a dang hat, and there's no writing on the back. You always wear it the wrong ways.
Well, when some of them people turn to look at that long hair sticking out the back, they see the name on there.
Yeah. And as far as the hangouts go, just sit backwards.
Yeah, I'll put the thing on there.
Okay.
And there was silence.
Yeah, we're just it's quiet tonight, Russ. Like I said, I really didn't have a show. I think when I was talking to Mark on Facebook about what the show was about, I think he thought I was talking more about the show. And don't get me wrong, folks, I really appreciate the past, well, over a year now we've been doing this show. We're on 57 and started it back in April. And always have a good crowd of folks that watches, and I appreciate every single one of you. Sure do.
Well, how many members do you have on the forum now, community forum that you got set up?
The forum has, when I looked earlier, it had, I think, 216.
Oh, I'm gonna have to take credit for that.
Okay, you can.
Well, I am, because you got so tired of me asking you questions of dumb stuff that I did that you created that forum so somebody else could answer the question.
No, well, you can take credit for that if you want, but I can tell you why I finally started that forum. Is one day I was trying to find something on one of the Facebook groups, and I couldn't remember which group it was on, and of course there's not really a good way to search the Facebook groups. And I thought, man, I just need to go ahead and look into doing the forum. And then when I did it, I thought, well, it's not as hard as what I thought. So, but yeah, I think we've got 216 registered members. Of course, we get a lot of folks that just, poke in there and snoop around without registering. It's public, so you don't have to register if you don't want to. We've got, I think, 439 or something like that in the Gatton CNC Facebook group, and I believe we have 300 and some odd in the Garage Works CNC Facebook group. But yeah, the forum's a good place. Lots of people are posting pictures of their builds and different things they're doing. Just a lot of good conversation and sharing of ideas and stuff goes on over there. So, and of course, being in a forum, you can find it once, if you run across something and then you come back a week later, there's a way to search and find it. And plus there's stuff in categories. So that's it's just way better than the Facebook thing.
Definitely encourage everyone to get over there. Like, we were talking about Mach 4. There's a Mach 4 category over there and 0 posts in it. So if you're out there and you're using Mach 4, please head over there. Give us a little write-up on what you think of Mach 4, any issues you've had and stuff like that, since obviously other people are asking about it also.
I think Leo Steger is using Mach 4.
Yeah.
I posted on Facebook that he was using Mach 4.
Yeah, there's a few. I should have wrote down the numbers because I created, when I first created that category, I think I posted a poll and it says, what control software are you using? And of course the choices were, well, I think I had Mach 3/4. I think I combined those if I remember right. And then UC, CNC, and I forget what the other one was, maybe Masso. I don't know. But anyway, the Mach 3 is like way ahead of everybody. That's pretty much what folks use. So, could I make a spindle category on the forum? Yeah, I can. I guess I have one. Yeah, I can do that, Kevin. Be happy to do that. Linux CNC, yeah, Rob. I think that was the other one.
Yep.
Yeah, Rob's a Linux guy, I think.
I've heard really good things about Linux.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool to have a spindle category on there. I'd definitely like to see, the different options people are using for spindles.
Yeah, I'll definitely add that after the show and put that on there. You're welcome, Kevin. Thanks for the ideas, man. That's what I like about the folks in this community, man. They're always, helping each other and coming up with stuff to help the hobby. Jim Sinicola says Mach 4 is geared more to professionals versus the hobbyist.
I'd have to disagree with that.
Would you? I can't.
I mean, Mach 3 has got every feature than any Fanuc control I've ever had to use on any machine.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Mach 3 has got, it's run by hobbyists and the big shots. So, Claude Kane says he's going to be cutting some steel tomorrow. We'll video some and post on the forum, my email. Okay. Cutting steel. What kind of machine?
I want to see that, Claude. That would be awesome.
What kind of machine are you running, Claude? Give us the lowdown. Give us the specs. Inquiring minds want to know.
He posted the plasma he's got on his machine. He said he could switch it between wood and plasma. Definitely love to see pictures. And
so he's going to cut it with a plasma. Okay. I got you. Well, that's good. Home built has plasma. I was watching, this is kind of off topic here, not like we really have a topic, but I ran across a video the other day and it really piqued my interest. This guy, I can't remember the name of the darn channel. I'll think of it later. But anyway, he bought like $150 pressure washer. And he rigged up a
water jet. Seen that. That was awesome.
Did you see it?
I seen that. That was wicked.
I mean, it was kind of crude the way he had it, but I mean, the proof of concept was there. He had a bucket of sand,
Definitely.
abrasive with a funnel, and it went down a tube, and he had this, and I'm like, that's pretty interesting.
That was very interesting.
So yeah, I'll have to go back and look that up and check into that a little more.
I'm just looking it up now, actually, to see if I can find it. At least who made it.
Yeah. See, I want to say the guy's YouTube channel had make in the channel name somewhere, I think. I can't remember what it was, but does Vectrix support plasma? I don't know if they have a post processor just for plasma. I mean, they got a gazillion posts in that stuff. They might, but I'm sure you could, it's kind of like using a laser. You could, modify one to make it work.
Question on that topic, and it's something that I saw a while back, where somebody had built one of the garage workses, and on the back side of the router, on the other side of the gantry, he had a laser. He had both of them on the same machine, but not side by side. He had a router in the front and on the other side, and it was kind of set up the way you did yours with that HDPE stuff, and you had the laser mounted to that. Well, that's what he had on there, and he was running like that. I'm sure he had to use some offsets or something on there to set the laser right, but it seemed to me like it was a neat idea to be able to do that.
Yeah. Now this was on the Garage Works.
I want to say it was. I really do think it was, but it's been so long I can't remember when I saw it.
I think it's a Sidewinder.
You think? Yeah, have you seen
the Gatton CNC? I think.
Yeah,
I don't think so. I thought it was I thought it was.
What's the fella's name?
I know John Meyer has.
That's him, I think.
I didn't know he was a laser. I thought he made I thought he had another router on the backside as well. But maybe
I was thinking it was a laser, the one I'm thinking of.
Okay, it may be.
Yeah, because
I don't know.
Well, it seemed to me like it was because it had the Z plate like you do on the router for you to mount the Z box to, and it was on the same thing on the other side. It's the way it looked to me. And he had the HDPE all like that, all set up, and it was a laser on that side. It was strange to see it that way, but it made a lot of sense.
Yeah. Kevin Calhoun just says John Meyer has a Gatton with two routers, one on each. Yeah, because he did a video. Now he may have a laser on there too. I know he's got a laser, and I don't know which side he's got it on. So it may be on the back side. I don't know.
I am really thinking that it was a Garage Works.
Well, yeah, okay. I mean, it could be. I don't know.
Look it up now.
I guess I'll have to. Did you see it on YouTube?
Don't get me the line.
Or posting on Facebook?
It was something like on Facebook. I want to say that it was. I don't think it was on YouTube. I think it was just a picture on Facebook that somebody had put on. I saw it. But it was a novel idea for me. I'd never seen it before. I really liked how it was.
Yeah. Okay, I see another question here. Fred Dunlap says, "Hi Dave, will I need to buy a Mach 3 card too as well if I buy your CNC and buy Mach 3 software?" It depends on what kind of computer you're going to run it off of. If you got an old computer that's got a parallel port, I don't know if that's what he's talking about when he says Mach 3 card, or are you talking about a license? You definitely need a license to get the full-blown Mach 3. The demo allows you to play around with a little bit, but if you're going to run anything at all, you need to go ahead and spring for the license. But if you're talking, I'm not sure what you mean by Mach 3 card. If you're using a newer computer, like my laptops don't have parallel ports, I use the UC100 which is a USB CNC motion controller, and it bridges the gap between the parallel and the USB. So, Fred, I don't know if I answered your question or not. Right? If I just confuse you, ask me again, and we'll try again.
Applied Science was the name of the person that put out that.
Yeah, it didn't have making it at all, did it? Yeah. What do I know?
Well, he made himself a pressure washer or a water jet out of pressure washer. So I guess
that's a cool video there. Everybody should check that
out. That is pretty cool.
And maybe look for a Gatton water jet in the near future.
That would be awesome.
What kind of stuff was he cutting? How thick was he able to cut with it? Did he show anything?
He was cutting like 1/8 aluminum. I mean, he had it. It was really crude setup because he had, like I said, a bucket of sand and he had a hose running down to the head, and all he had was like a big bucket full of water with like a grate type stuff on the top of it. And he was just taking his hands and holding that piece of aluminum and just running it through the stream and cutting it. But it was like 1/8 aluminum, I think.
Yeah. But it cut it nice and clean. Like it was.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was amazed, because I'm thinking, here the guys bought a $150, pressure. It's electric pressure washer. It's not even a real nice one. One like you get at Harbor Freight or something.
And it worked fine.
And now I don't know. I'd have to go back and see, because he said it was kind of funny because what he called the head was like $80. He says, now here, this part costs $80, but the whole pressure washer was only $150. So Jeff Robinson says, Gatton 3D printer. Don't look for a Gatton 3D printer. Anytime soon. That's all I'm going to say. I don't have a 3D printer. Maybe if I had one, if anybody wants to send me one, feel free. Email me. I'll send you my address. But everybody gets excited about those 3D printers, and I'm sorry, I just don't. You're making stuff out of string plastic or something.
Well, who was it? Jim Sinicola was the one that.
Go ahead, Mike.
If you don't have a use for it, instead of them sending the 3D printer to you, they can just go ahead and send it to me.
You don't have room.
If you're closer to Texas, you don't want to send it that far.
Hey, I just had a spare bedroom open up. I'm just saying.
All right, now, Mike, let me ask you, since if I was to buy you a 3D printer and send it to you, what would you make with it?
Knobs and doodads and thingamajobbies.
But you can make plastic knobs, with your CNC.
Yeah,
let me tell you something.
You can make plywood knobs with it.
Safety orange filament and print safety orange knobs.
Well, yeah, okay. I don't know if I could get safety orange. I don't know. I know. They're all the craze right now. Bunch of folks. I know Zach Manring. I think he just bought a new one.
Yeah, he just got one.
I don't know. I guess being in the around sheet metal and machining and stuff like that, I just don't get excited about something that's squirting out plastic and making these plastic.
Well, let me say something to that effect. If you don't mind me cutting in.
You go right ahead.
My coworker has a 3D printer at his house, and just before Jim Sinicola put that thing that he saw, he copied off of Trevor Vine. He did a little holder that put that holds your Sharpie in your CNC, and you can draw with it. Okay. just before he put that on, I told my coworker, I said, I need to be able to draw. And I said, I know you can make me something that'll do that. And so he got to looking on Thingiverse, is where they get all the G code, and he found one. And he printed that thing up for me. The next day I had it. I haven't bought the bolt to hold it up into the college yet, but perfect. It's ideal.
You can put it on your garage works.
You can, but I didn't have to. Because he,
but you could have.
Yeah, but I don't know. I didn't know.
That's what we're talking about.
No idea how to make that thing like that. And Trevor, Trevor put the actual picture of it up there and all the stuff you needed, which I found after the fact.
Yeah,
I gave the guy $5 to make it for me.
Let me just say my apologies to all the guys out there with 3D printers that are all excited about them. But I'm sorry, they just don't do anything for me. I don't know. Like I said, if somebody was to send me one, and I'd probably play with it just to see if I could get excited about it. But from what I've seen them do, it's just not for me, I guess.
You know, my wife has done a couple of scroll saw patterns for me on her Cricut machine. And she had a pin that came with it, but it didn't come with the holder to put the pin in that would hold it. And my son-in-law has a 3D printer. He went on Thingiverse and found the code for the holder for that thing, made it, and she's printed out a couple of patterns for me to cut on the scroll saw because of that. So it comes in handy in certain situations.
Yeah, yeah. I see people over there in the chat now. They're going, "Well, I got this made with a 3D printer and this," and I'm like, "Oh, I didn't created the."
I've seen a lot of cool shop stuff done with the 3D printer between, guys like who was it? Was it Bob Claggett did a video on making a custom fit dust collection fitting, 3D printing. Yeah, there's a lot of things that definitely cutting out on a CNC way faster. But there's some stuff I think, the 3D printer, it brings to the table something that a traditional CNC doesn't. So it's like any other tool in the shop. It's choosing the right tool for the job.
I believe it.
Yeah. Now, if you let me ask this: if you had a 3D printer, and is that something you could keep out in your shop where you have your CNC and your table saw and all these other things creating dust, or is it something where you would need to keep it like in the house or in a different area?
As being a complete noob who's never used a 3D printer, I would assume that you'd want it in the house.
Okay, well, just from what I've seen, that's kind of the idea I get. I'm thinking that you would keep it away from router dust and stuff like that.
That's a good question for anyone watching that might have a 3D printer. Do you guys have your 3D printers out in your shop, or is it in another room?
That's a question for Zach. Yeah, ask Zach that question.
Okay, Ron Cleveland says, yes, mine are enclosed.
They have an enclosure on.
And only 6 feet from the CNC.
Cool.
Okay. All right, well, I guess I'm not going to be able to live down the 3D printer comments.
My son-in-law's 3D printer is a little cheapy, but it does have an enclosure over it.
Yeah.
Well, they're not that expensive, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like everything. When they first start out, they were a little pricey, and then, they keep coming down and down and down. And I'm thinking, even as cheap as they are now, I still don't see me buying one. I can't think of anything I could make with it that I couldn't make some other way.
Yeah.
Just to play around with it.
Yeah. But all right. So my apologies to all you guys with the 3D printers, and
It seems the consensus is that they don't handle touch very well. So either an enclosure or away from dust-producing machines.
Yeah. Well, I think aren't pretty much all of them come kind of with some kind of enclosure thing, Lexan doors or something on them, or.
I think it's the ones I've looked at. It seems like a pretty good mix between ones with enclosures and ones without.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm going to have somebody with a 3D printer come be the guest on the show now, so they can tell me I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. Which I don't when it comes to 3D printers. I just don't. Like I said, when I watch them and see the kind of stuff that they're made, they go, yeah, look here, I made this widget with a plastic widget. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Well, I think that's the difference between the guys that get it, guys that get it because they actually have a legitimate reason to have it, which nothing to get it either. But,
I mean, not to mention, widgets are pretty expensive these days.
Yeah.
I mean, the choke on my weed eater just broke. Little plastic piece about an inch long by half-inch. They do not sell that little plastic turn knob anywhere. I had to buy granted it was a $15 carburetor, but I had to buy a new carburetor just to have that little plastic switch. So I didn't have to take a pair of pliers every time I wanted to turn the choke on my weed eater. Just something like that would have took me.
But if you had a $200 or $300 3D printer, you could have knocked that right out.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. I would have probably hoped someone sent me like a $700 or $800.
Oh, okay. I have no idea. I just threw those numbers out there. I don't know how much they cost. Let me ask the folks over in the chat. What's the going, just ballpark figure for a decent 3D printer? And also kind of give me an idea on size too, because it looks like they're all pretty small footprint. Okay, I see I paid $800 for a Robo 3D. Okay.
Dremel has one too that seems to be half decent, especially around Canada here.
Yeah.
Works out to be right around $1,200 Canadian.
I'm sure Trevor would have a good use for it with his drone and all.
The drone would definitely be a very good use. I could make gimbal guards and parts and pieces to be able to hold my landing gear and stuff together. Yeah,
that's what my son-in-law does with his most of it.
Lens caps.
I just want to be able to 3D print something, then put it on my CNC, mill it out, and then laser crazy.
Okay, it looks like we're getting a pretty good price range on the. I see there's one at 200, one was at 800, 199. I don't know. Again, guys, is there anybody out there in the chat that has a 3D printer that would like to be a guest on the CNC with Dave show? And, show off what that thing will do and get me excited about 3D printing.
I bet if you got one, Jad will find some way to use a Masso on it.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
Good thing he's already got one.
I noticed on Instagram today that he had posted a picture of a low coolant tab. So
that came out of the last show, so he will.
Yep. The man is definitely listening, that's for sure. Anything that's there that's not,
right on.
He's definitely here to listen, which is totally awesome. I mean, where else are you going to buy something?
Yeah.
Where else are you going to buy something like that and then have somebody turn around a week later and have it, embedded into
Okay, we've got a taker on my invitation here. Ron Cleveland says, sure, I could. Don't know about making you excited, though. Yeah, that'd be tough to do, I think, Ron. But I would love to have you on if you can, if you got a good internet connection, a webcam or whatever. Love to have you on the show and talk about your 3D printing. I guess just educate me on what all they can do. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I don't realize what all you can do with one. And that's, I don't know.
Everybody on the panel, get ready for what you want him to make you, and you got to pay to play.
Yeah. Okay, I see another guy says $400. CR10 YouTube review watch. Okay. I mean, there's, like I said, I see a lot of different ones, different price range and guys making, I don't know what, I know Zach Manring just got one, and I don't know what kind he got, how much it was or anything about it. But I just, I remember a long time ago, probably 10 years ago, maybe, I went to take some training for SolidWorks. The company I was working for had bought SolidWorks, and they were going to send us for some training to use that software. And I remember the place in Atlanta where I went, they had basically a 3D printer, but back then, I mean, this thing was like, no telling how much it cost. And that's, they were all excited about it, and because it would, kind of make prototype things, and you could, check the fit or whatever. But I mean, and I mean, that thing was thousands of dollars back then. But even then, with seeing that, I'm like, yeah, okay, it's cool, but it's still making plastic stuff. So
that sounds like a long song there, don't it?
Well, like I said, I guess it's probably because, like I said, I worked around sheet metal and machining and stuff like that. And I mean, I know it's quicker than like if you got to have some kind of a plastic, I don't know, let's say a plastic bezel to go on something, rather than design it and, make a mold and then do injection, that's where it's going to say, because then you can spit them out with that and see, maybe change the design or whatever. I get that. But I'm just thinking for the home hobbyist, I just can't think of that many knobs and things that
for production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I'll take Ron up on his offer if he'll come be on the show and show his off and enlighten me to see what all those things will do. We haven't had anybody with a 3D printer on. Haven't had anybody with a water jet. I saw, that's another video I watched recently, was it's called the Wazer, which sounds like somebody who can't pronounce laser, but that's what they call it. It's WAZER.
I saw the video Jimmy DeMoss did on it. The one he got. Pretty cool.
Oh, so he already got one? Because
they came over and did a demo.
Okay, the video that I watched, they were interviewing the young guy that's, doing this, and he's got a Kickstarter campaign going and all that stuff. But I guess they're really thinking they're not even going to start producing them and shipping them until about this time next year. So
yeah, they brought a demo.
I'm sorry, that video was in October of last year, so fall of this year. So Ron says, let me know when you want to, whenever you're available. Dave, when you think of plastic, you think of cheap or weak. No, not really. I make a lot of things out of HDPE. Right now on my little machine out there that I've got the Masso, I've got a router mount for the DeWalt 611 that I made out of HDPE. And I'm trying to picture what if I had a 3D printer, would I be able to print that quicker than I could machine it with a router?
Probably not.
I don't know. I don't think so. Because I know it didn't take all that long to cut those 3 parts.
It sprays that stuff out in thin filaments. It takes a long time to do it, I would think.
Yeah. Well, I think I think it was Zach Manning that said this on Facebook the other. I believe it was him, and he said something about basically a 3D printer is like a skinny glue gun.
I could see that.
I believe that was his quote. If it's not, I apologize, but I believe that's something that Zach Manning put on Facebook. And when you think about it, I'm like, yeah, that's a pretty good analogy because it's kind of what it is. You heat it up, squirt it out in a string, and pile it up, and
I'd like to know what kind of machine work comes in afterwards to be able to get things all smoothened down and make it look like it's, you know, an actual. How much of that can you see the little layers as it's going up? I mean, I suppose that would vary depending on the higher class of the machine, or you know, the way you get your settings.
I think they rub MEK on it or something like that and smooth it out.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll find all about that whenever Ron comes on the show and talks about that. I will say this: I got a, everybody knows. I think I got the little J-Tech photonic laser, 2.8 watt, and one of the things I noticed, of course, I bought it a year ago originally, and I bought the extra little fan that mounts above the laser, and you look at that little plastic piece and you can tell that it was 3D printed. And I guess that's one reason why I don't get excited about 3D printing, because I look at that and I'm like, I mean, it works, but it's just, you could tell it was 3D printed. It just didn't look like a really finished product, you know, like if it was machined or something. But I don't know. Well, I'm excited. We'll have Ron on and learn about 3D printing.
Can you see it?
Yeah, let me lock it on you there, Russ. Okay.
This is that attachment the boy 3D printed for me to put on the router for a drawing stick. With your this part's like a 1/4 inch bore, and it goes right up into the collet on your router, and your marker goes through here. And it's got a little spring on top and a little grommet that it keeps the tension on the spring. You don't have much compression on that spring, and it turns and it just follows everywhere that router is going. This little thing was it's only about a 1/2 inch wide. The one that Jim Sinicola did, it looks big and bulky and stuff. And but this is narrow, thin.
It is plywood, right? Wasn't it?
I don't think it was plywood. I think it was hardwood, but he did it in 2 separate pieces so he could drill the holes, and then he glued them together. And this is like a 30-degree angle, and this is neat. I thought it ain't nothing to it, but it's hard as a rock. Hard as a rock.
Okay.
Yeah, and I do believe that this is going to be a fancy little thing once I get going with it.
Okay, now when he 3D printed that for you, I mean, when he pulled it off, did it look like that, or did he have to clean
just
it up?
like this with the holes already in it? Both holes already in it. I didn't have to do any boring or anything. That's how it came off the printer. And I mean, they're perfectly round. I don't know if you can see them. Well, maybe I can like that.
Yeah,
they're round. You know, and it printed it just the way the G code inputted it. And I can't wait to use it. I got some ideas in mind, but this was born out of the fact of that dadgum Indian idea, and I was crying about all that painting. I thought, well, I'll take me a purple Sharpie and stick in there and see if I could paint some purple with that. or paint some white, you know, anything. And this is where my idea came from. And then I saw Jim did that one he got from Trevor Vine, and it works. But I don't know how good it will paint, but it works. Well, that's all it is.
There's some interesting comments over there in the.
I better look at the chat, huh?
The chat.
I like it.
I was going to make a comment to one of the comments, and I think, nah, maybe I better stay away from that one.
Yeah.
Try to keep it a family show here.
Right.
Oh boy, let me go look at the chat.
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess we've been babbling on here about 3D printers now. You know, everybody's going to be saying, yeah, Dave's a 3D printer basher. Who knows? Maybe after we have Ron Cleveland on, and maybe I'll buy one and find out what all the excitement's about.
You got plenty of room in your shop.
Or what I should just do is get Mike Mertzke to buy one, and if I need any knobs or anything, just get him I'll send him the draw and he can make them.
That's what I'm going to do.
Okay, well, I guess I don't have anything else. Like I said, we didn't really have all that much of a show tonight. I just wanted to get on here and, like I said, thank everybody for all the support I've had over the past 12 months and in past several years, really, for that matter. You know, I know I don't do much on the YouTube scene anymore, except for these silly shows. But some folks, and Mark Lindsay's one of them. I can remember him being one of the first people that, you know, would comment on my videos. It didn't matter what kind of crap I made. He would always have something to say about it, and positive. You know, he was always positive about everything. But a lot of folks like him that have been following me for a long time, and I appreciate it. I really do. There's so much stuff out there on YouTube that, you know, anybody takes a minute out of their day to watch something I put out. I really appreciate it. I can't thank you enough. Anybody got anything, any parting comments or anything? Everybody's been so quiet today. Okay, Ron, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think you're in the forum and all the Facebook groups and stuff. We'll get in touch, and whenever you got time and want to do the thing. I don't know if you've ever been in a hangout before. We can do a test one during the week or something if all that's new to you. Jerry, what does that say? Jerry Webster. Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate the kind words. Well, I guess we're going to sign off here on close the books on this one. Again, don't forget, folks, if you want a free CNC, not a GarageWorks CNC, not this time. I have a link in the description if you tuned in late. Iconic CNC, Jeremy Stevenson is doing the summer giveaway. So I've got the link down there. Go put your entry in, and maybe you can win a free CNC. And I'll probably be doing another one sometime. I don't know. Whenever I get bored and I get, you know, I build these machines up to demo and stuff. And then after I get kind of bored and I think, I want to do something different. So I got to make room. So that's when I usually do a giveaway. But
so you're saying to make room for a 3D printer, you're going to do a giveaway?
Yeah, I might have to do that because I could probably fit a little 3D printer on that little roll around cart thing where I have the small machine with the laser or something. So,
yeah, they're not that big.
I don't know. If I did have a 3D printer, I'd probably have it right in here in the house somewhere, and instead of having to be out there in the heat. But why not CNC? Hey, Dave, you provide a great service for the CNC family. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know who Why Not CNC is. I can never keep the names of folks with their YouTube usernames and stuff like that. But I do appreciate y'all. Even a goofy show like this, and I know lots of folks have other things going on, graduations and all that stuff, and we still had a good crowd, about 70 or 80 people watching tonight. So appreciate it. Ron says, "I'll trade you a 3D printer for a Gatton."
There you go.
Well, first, Ron, you got to come on the show and convince me that I need a 3D printer.
Sounds like a challenge.
And you might be able to do it. Like I said, I think maybe it's just that, and again, I don't want to bash the 3D printer guys, but maybe it's just that the reason I don't get that excited about them is that everybody that posts stuff on Facebook that they made with them, maybe they're just making lame stuff. I don't know, widgets and stuff like that. Something that I would have absolutely no use for. So we'll see. But yeah, that's whenever you can be on, Ron, we'll have you on. All right, we're going to close the books on this one. Again, thanks everybody. Thank you, panel. Juan, Michael, good to have you back. And I must say, you're looking just exceptional in that orange shirt.
I think it's the color.
It is the color. I mean, that just brightens up the whole shop, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It looks good on you. Looks good.
Thank you.
Russ, thanks for popping in here. Appreciate you wearing the hat the right direction. Appreciate you. Trevor, once again, thank you, buddy. Our lone Canada representative. Thank you for being on the panel.
I'm a Gatton hat kind of guy.
I've got some. I can. Anyway, we're going to sign off. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate y'all watching. And I don't know what we're going to do next week. Who knows? Maybe we'll have Ron on next week with the 3D printer thing. But anyway, we'll have something probably going for you next week. So thank y'all. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.
Y'all have a good one.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night, everybody.